What if the thoughts that are disturbing you the most are actually trying to help you? Sit with that question. Do not rush past it. Because everything you have been told, that stress is your enemy, that negative thoughts must be silenced, that overthinking means something is broken inside you, may be the very reason you cannot escape them. The smartest people in this world are not the ones who never struggle with dark thoughts. They are the ones who learned what to do when those thoughts arrive. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about today. The human mind is remarkable. But when it is left unexamined, it turns against you. Overthinking is not a personality flaw. It is a signal. It is your inner world knocking on the door, asking to be heard. And most people spend their entire lives pretending they cannot hear the knock. I studied the human psyche for decades. I walked into the darkest rooms of the human mind, not to run from what I found there, but to understand it. And one truth kept revealing itself over and over again. The people who suffered most were not those with the hardest lives. They were the ones who refused to look inward. Now stop for a second. Think about your own life. When was the last time you sat in complete silence? No phone, no noise, no distraction, and felt completely at peace. If that question made you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is information. That discomfort is the beginning of awareness. And awareness is where everything changes. Most people treat their mind like a battlefield. A thought appears and they fight it. Stress rises and they suppress it. A negative feeling surfaces and they distract themselves from it. But here is what nobody tells you. Whatever you resist persists. The more energy you pour into fighting a thought, the stronger that thought becomes. Smart people figured this out, and it changed the way they live. So let us talk about how they actually do it, step by step, practically and clearly. The first method is to become the observer of your thoughts, not the prisoner of them. In my work, particularly in the book Modern Man in Search of a Soul, I wrote about the importance of standing apart from the contents of your own mind. Your thoughts are not you. They are events that pass through your awareness, like clouds passing through the sky. The sky does not become the cloud, and you do not have to become your thinking. The moment you say to yourself, "I notice I am overthinking right now," something powerful happens. You create distance. That distance is freedom. Smart people practice this daily. They catch themselves mid-spiral and simply say, "There is that thought again," not with judgment, just with awareness. The second method is intentional silence. And I want to be very clear here. Silence is not laziness. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is one of the most cognitively powerful tools available to the human mind. 10 minutes of genuine stillness each day, where you sit without agenda, without input, without noise, begins to restructure how your brain processes fear and worry. Your nervous system needs silence, the way your lungs need air. Smart people protect their quiet time fiercely, because they know that the answers they are searching for do not come from more noise. They come from the pause between the noise. The third method is writing your thoughts down. This sounds almost too simple, but do not underestimate it. When a thought lives only in your head, it has unlimited power over you. It loops, it grows, it distorts, but the moment you put it on paper, something shifts. You can now see it, you can examine it, you can question it. In the book, The Red Book, I documented my own process of externalizing my inner world, putting images, thoughts, and feelings onto the page rather than letting them consume me from within. Writing is not journaling for the sake of nostalgia. It is a psychological act of liberation. When you write the thought down, you take back control. The fourth method is identifying the root emotion behind the thought. Most people try to deal with the thought itself. Smart people go deeper. They ask, "What am I actually feeling underneath this?" Because overthinking is almost never about the topic you are overthinking. It is about an emotion that has not been acknowledged. Maybe it is fear of failure. Maybe it is a need for control. Maybe it is grief you never processed. When you name the root emotion, the overthinking loses its grip. It no longer needs to keep circling because the thing it was pointing to has finally been seen. Now here is a pattern interrupt. I want you to think of the last time you genuinely laughed without thinking about anything else. Not a polite laugh, a real one. In that moment, where was your overthinking? It was gone. Completely gone. Which means your mind is fully capable of stillness. It already knows how. You just need to stop training it to stay in chaos. The fifth method is anchoring yourself in meaningful purpose. A mind without direction wanders, and a wandering mind finds worry. This is not philosophy. This is neuroscience. When your brain has a clear sense of purpose, a reason to move forward, it naturally filters out noise that is irrelevant to that purpose. Smart people are not free of problems. They are anchored to something bigger than their problems. That anchor keeps them from being swept away by every anxious thought that surfaces. Ask yourself what actually matters to you, not what you think should matter. What genuinely pulls you forward. Find that. Hold on to it. Let it be the filter through which you decide what deserves your mental energy and what does not. The sixth method is confronting your shadow. This one is uncomfortable, but it is the most important of all. In my work on analytical psychology, I introduced the concept of the shadow, the part of yourself you have buried, denied, or refused to look at. The aspects of your personality that you deemed unacceptable, the memories you avoided, the emotions you were told were too much. Here is the critical insight. Whatever you hide in your shadow does not disappear. It comes back as overthinking, as unexplained anxiety, as self-sabotage, as irrational fear. Smart people understand that the darkness they are running from is not out there. It is inside them, waiting to be acknowledged. When you face the shadow with honesty, when you say, "This is a part of me, and I am not afraid of it," you remove its ability to control you from the background. This is not about dwelling on the negative. It is about completing the circuit within yourself so that the energy stops leaking. The seventh method is replacing rumination with deliberate thinking. There is a difference between thinking and ruminating. Thinking moves forward. Rumination goes in circles. Smart people train themselves to notice when their thinking has stopped being productive and started being repetitive. And when they notice that, they do something very specific. They ask one simple question. What is one thing I can actually do about this right now? Just one thing. Not 10. Not a full plan. Just one step. That question breaks the loop. It shifts the brain from threat detection mode into solution mode. And the mind, now given a direction, stops spinning. Let me bring this all together. You are not broken. Your overthinking is not proof of weakness. Your stress is not evidence that you cannot handle life. Your negative thoughts are not your identity. They are signals from a mind that has not yet been given the right tools. Smart people are not superhuman. They did not arrive at mental clarity by accident. They learned, often through their own suffering, that the mind responds to how you treat it. They stopped fighting themselves and started understanding themselves. They built habits of awareness, stillness, honesty, and purpose. And slowly, the noise began to quiet. In Modern Man in Search of a Soul, there is a simple but devastating truth. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, because accepting yourself completely means looking at everything, the strength and the weakness, the clarity and the confusion, the light and the shadow. Most people never do this. They edit themselves, they perform, they suppress, and they wonder why the mind never rests. The mind rests when it feels safe, and it feels safe when you stop hiding from it. You have the capacity for that. Right now, not after you fix everything, not after life becomes easier. Right now, in the middle of all of it, you can begin to listen differently. You can begin to observe rather than react. You can begin to choose, even if only in small moments, what deserves your attention and what does not. That is the psychology of smart people. not genius, not perfection, just the quiet, consistent decision to understand themselves rather than run from themselves. The question is no longer whether you can do this. The question is whether you are ready to begin.